Hello everyone, my name is Marina. I'm an artist. I live in South Africa. I've been teaching many people over the years to paint. I've decided to take it to Skillshare now, and let's see where we get, if I can teach you something, hopefully. Um, I usually work in acrylics. I know people have a bit of a more of a snob value to oils, and oils are wonderful, but they take a little bit of time to dry, and one doesn't always have the time. I don't always have the time. What I like about the acrylics, because of the drying fast thing, is the surprise elements in it is more spontaneous, and it sort of prevents you from overthinking things. You can overthink things whenever you like, but we have a little help there. So what I want to do is, first of all, is I want to take the fear factor out of the white canvas. Many people want to paint. Many people would say, oh, if only I could paint, but I can't. I can't draw a stick man. I'm too scared. Mostly they're too scared. And it is a daunting thing to look at a white canvas and think, what is important enough now for me to put in all the effort to paint this specific thing on this white canvas? And I'm going to try to solve that problem. For me, it's more of a holistic approach, if you can use the word holistic for art. Let me rather say it's a state of mind, but it's not as serious as a state of mind. Let me explain. Art is around us. It's all around us. You know, wherever you go, you can say maybe an orange that's lying in your kitchen on the counter. You look at it, you see, oh, it's a beautiful orange. You can see, oh, there's a little bit sort of holes in it. There's a shadow. There's a shadow that falls on the counter. You have a painting there. You have a moment of a painting, a whole painting, or part of a painting, or in the end, a beautiful moment or a beautiful photograph. Walk in your garden, walk in a park, walk everywhere. Plants. The way the form of the leaves that hang on the trees, the way you can see the sky that comes through these leaves, the way a chair has been designed and is formed. Everywhere you see art, you just have to choose to see it if you want to. You don't have to do it. It is just a very interesting, fun way to live, and it gives you lots of ideas for paintings. It's also a good idea to take photographs all the time. You see a nice leaf, that exact leaf, take a photo, keep it on your phone. You might never use it, but even if it gives you a moment's pleasure, that's been worth the photo, the idea, the thought. Everywhere it makes you happier. It's more fun way of living. So yeah, and the other thing of looking and seeing is there's a difference for me between looking and seeing. We can look at something, but do we really see it? Oh, I'm looking at a beautiful palm tree now. I can't turn my camera because I don't know how. And you see, oh, there's a tree, it's a palm tree, it's got leaves on it. But now look at it, there's a little yellow line in the middle. There are all these sideways little lines the leaf is forming. The way it flops over, the way the stem makes a swoop, to meet the leaf in the front. So you can go on and on and on. But let's stop there, because all that said and done, I think, in my opinion, everybody can paint. There's no one in this world who can't paint. It just depends on whether you want to paint or not, whether you are interested in it, and whether you want to put in the effort, because it is effort. It takes effort, and it takes elbow grease, it takes time. but it's also a wonderful thing to learn. And it's a wonderful medium to get rid of your frustrations, your ideas, your pain. Um, yeah, that's all I can say about that. But that all said, some people can paint better than others. That is just, some people can do anything better than others. Painting is not always about the best painting. It is not always about, is my painting better than that one's painting? It is about the feeling. The feeling when you paint, the feeling when you look at the painting. And it's not always positive, I know, but even the negative is good for you. Especially when you get to the negative part and you think, oh, I'm struggling, oh, I can't do this, oh, I hate this, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's actually the best place to be. Because when you don't know what's going on, when you don't know what to do, is when you start looking and thinking at your canvas. And I have a sort of an easy approach to painting. I have a way that I've been using all these years to make it easier to get into the paint, to get past that white canvas. Because for me, I'm always stuck on a subject. I always think, what the hell am I going to paint now? Because that's beautiful, this, that. What do I paint? So this way, it sort of steers me in a direction. But first, let me tell, before we go into this, into the painting part, which I'm going to show you now, let's just see first what we need. What we need is paint, of course. I'll go into the paint part now, what you need and so on. But brushes, you know, I start very basically, so that doesn't cost you a lot of money. It's not a lot of things to remember. It's not a lot of stuff that you would think, what am I going to use now? So we start simple. You can build it up to be absolutely the king of painting later. But now, in the beginning, I start and I teach you this. Brushes, you only need about 3 brushes. Not expensive brushes. Sort of cheapies, not the cheapest because their hair fall out. But I always say a round tip brush, about a number 8. It's a quite thick brush. And then a flat tipped, also around 8. And then, you know, I'm not going to say to you, it must be a 8. It could be a 9, it could be a 6. Just not too thin, not too thick. Let me show you. A 8 is more or less this. No, this is the wrong brush. 8 is more or less this brush. I like to use this brush. This is my favorite. It's flatter and everything, but it's after years of this that I stumbled onto this in Paris, of all places. I bought these brushes about 12 years ago. I'm still using it. Then a smaller brush, a thinner one, sort of just for in case you need it. Something like this. My brushes are all old, but I like the feeling of an old brush. And you need a makeshift palette. What I have is just a plastic container. This is the lid. The bottom part is inside. You need a plastic container you can shut airtight. I'll show you that later also, but it's a way to keep your paint after you stop painting and you see, oh, I've got leftover paint. So we don't waste a drop of paint. We keep it fresh till the next time. Kitchen roll, just for dabbing, for cleaning, for dabbing your brush onto when it's too wet, to wipe, you need it for everything. So have it. Container for water, bowl. This is my Old Faithful. I've been using it for years. It used to be a very beautiful jug, but now this is what it is. And of course, your canvas. A canvas, I would say, don't go too small, don't go too big. You'll sort of get lost on a big canvas in the beginning, and a small one is too, it cramps you in and you don't know where to go because you sit in this little square. So I would say in centimeters, about 40 by 60 centimeters, and in inches, it's about, I think, 12 by 24. Also, there's no right size for a canvas. It's just more or less. If it's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, doesn't matter. I would say rather a bit bigger than a bit smaller. You know, you need breathing space. I have about 2 rules. I'm a very messy and easy painter. I'm not always easy, but you get my drift. My one golden rule is forget the color wheel. This is on my, I won't read it, but this is on my wall for me to remember and for my students to remember. Google tells you a color wheel is, what is it again? It's a way to structure colors, to help you, how they relate to other colors and how you can combine it. It is all true. And the color wheel means a lot to many people. I don't say it's wrong. I will never knock it. I mean, who am I? But it's just for me. I don't use it. I don't like it because it feels for me, it squishes me into a little corner. It tells me, okay, you have to use that color. You have to do this. You have to do that. It's wonderful if you don't know how to mix colors. But I prefer to mix colors on my own and struggle on my own and see, okay, I like this, I like this. Oh, this is happening. You get surprise colors in the meantime because you don't know what you're doing, because you're experimenting. So for me, that is a sort of part of the journey. It's part of the fun and part of the experience. So no color wheel for me. So I'm not going to teach you anything about the color wheel. And what my second one is, my second golden rule is you can paint anywhere. You can create art anywhere. You can, I have a friend that always say, you can paint on a landing. And I thought that was quite quaint because you can. You know, it's the big wonderful studio with bright light and wonderful windows and daylight and music playing and space and muses swirling around is fantastic. It's everybody's dream, and it's wonderful to work in a studio like that. I've had small studios, I've had big studios. At the moment, I'm in a small place. I don't even have a studio at the moment. So you see, I'm standing here outside in the garden. The weather is beautiful, but I can paint inside. I even have a jewelry bench inside, so I can paint and make jewelry in a very small little flat. I've made 12 paintings here 3 weeks ago to go in an exhibition in this small little place. And I live here with one foot in South Africa. My other foot is in California. That's just the way my life is at the moment, and that is why I'm living in temporary spaces and not too big spaces. But what the hell, it works. So I always say, look at the little kids in the shanty towns in Africa or in South Africa. They have no means of making a painting or do an art workshop. They have nothing. But they are the people who create the most wonderful art with little pieces of wood, pieces of wire they pick up, pieces of electric wire with all colors, make little figurines in it. I'm always amazed at what these people do. I think they are the best artists in the world. That's also why I think African art, the real African art, really has a very strong place in the world. If you compare African art with the Impressionists, say. So you walk in Paris, you're in the d'Orsay Museum, and you see all these Impressionists. You go to the African Art Museum, a freak secret where I was, and I was totally amazed at how much strength the African art has. It holds its own, against all these masters. So that's that. Let's get to painting. Oh yeah, the colors, of course. We need the colors to paint. Paint quality. I'm very strict about the quality of paint. And again, I don't say buy the most expensive, but I do say don't buy the cheapest. Don't buy those cheap student colors that are all the same price. They don't do you any favors because it's difficult to mix it. There's not enough pigment in a paint like that. So you will mix colors, you will paint, you will struggle, you don't know how, your painting looks dull and you want it brighter and it doesn't work and you don't know why. Well, that's why. You're not working with enough pigment. For me, I like Winsor & Newton. And I actually wish Winsor & Newton would sponsor me, but but they're not. Over the years, I've been using Winsor & Newton. It's a middle of the range paint. It's a perfect paint. It's a good paint. And I have two ranges. Let me just show you what it looks like. This is Winsor & Newton. And this one says professional, yeah, I quite forgot what it said. Professional paints. You don't have to be a professional to use the professional paints, of course. But they have two ranges. I don't have the other range here because I don't paint with it. But I will say one can use that too if you want to work on a smaller budget. It's called Galeria, but it says Winsor & Newton Galeria. And you use longer on a tube like this because it has more pigment in it. So in the end, you're not really paying more because of your potent paint. The other thing is colors. What colors to use? I start with 10 colors. Start all my people with 10 colors, and that's how I start. These are the colors I always have in my little box. These are the colors I always use. I want to sit down. The colors you need is a titanium white. Let me show you. I like to buy the white in a big tube because you use a lot of white. Ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna. You get a raw umber and a raw sienna. Don't make the mistake of buying the raw. They mix not as well as these two, the burnt umbers. These are a Payne's grey, yellow ochre, sap green. The permanent sap is the best green there is in my opinion, because this is the one closest to the color of leaves, of plants, and you can't go without this one. Cadmium yellow. Now the cadmium colors you get in a light and a medium and a deep. I like to use the medium. And then there's a cadmium red, also the medium. What color is left? What is this one? Oh, buff titanium. This is a creamy color. It gives you just totally a different effect. You use it as you use a white, but it gives you a different effect. That you will learn along the way. What you like, where you want to use this one, where you want to use white, because it has a different effect on any color you use. So now we start painting. I will show you my canvas. There's my white canvas. And how we start is to just put some paint out. we use all the colors and use it liberally, not too big a blobs, but not little bit thinking, oh, painting, colors are paint is expensive, but the moment you think about how much you spend, oh, don't do this, oh, save a little, it cramps your whole style. It makes you stressed. So just forget about everything. And let me show you. Now I have another trick. You see, about a blob like this of each color, except the white or the buff titanium. Don't use those two light colors for now. You will use it later. What I do, you don't have to, but for me, it is way liberating to do this. Let me show you. Let's get our canvas again. There you are. I just use my colors straight from the tube, for these layers anyway, onto the canvas. I would say use all your colors, as I said, because you need to choose later on. These are a bit big blobs. I'll go a little bit smaller because this is not such a big canvas. Never ever buy black. Black makes a hole in your canvas. Black eats all the other colors. We can mix a black. Then you can use black. But we mix it. Then you have a lively, interesting black that talks to the other colors. Okay, there we are. All I'm going to do now is, that's a bit too much water, so I just dab my brush a little bit. Your goal is to fill this whole canvas with these colors. Doesn't matter how. It's not a right or a wrong. They can mix, doesn't matter. The only thing you think about is using all your colors and to cover every little white spot on this canvas. I hold my brush like this. People often paint like this, like holding a pencil. I like to hold it like this, like holding a knife, let's say. Let's say a sword. It's more elegant. The reason is this way will strengthen my hand. See, I can go at it. Where if I paint like this, it's going to take me hours and I'm not going to like it. Paint gets a little bit dry. Just dip it a little bit in the water and onwards. Now often you have little white spots like this, this. We don't want them. You want them gone, because they always come back to haunt you. You might think, oh, I'll cover them in the next layer. No, you don't. Somehow they always come back. Somehow when your painting is finished, you see, oh, there's some little white spots. Now there are ways to get rid of your white spots, but why go to that extent? Why not just do it right from the beginning? Let's see. There, 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 I think that's everything. Just make double sure. See, now they're gone. Nothing to haunt you. Now you're going to do a second layer. Now the second layer, and you might ask me why I repeat things. This is your harsh, hard colors. Let's touch that a little bit. Now that it's drying, it looks a bit too white to my taste. It's all about depth and luxury. If you have a little bit more layers of paint, it is more luxurious in the end. You have luxurious, maybe the wrong word, but richer. You have a richer look to your painting. It builds depth, and that's everything you need in a painting. I'm going to use the same 8 colors now, but I'm going to add the buff titanium and the titanium white. Just a second, while I'm thinking of it. When you buy paint, buy all the colors you see, but I mean buy the name you see on my list. If you see sap green, permanent sap green, you buy the permanent sap green. If you see a titanium white, especially white, white is so important. The titanium white, I find, is the only one that really works well. You get lots of whites, iridescent, zinc, flake, mixing white. I have never been successful with any of those, but your good old titanium white is the one to use. Also, the thing that I left out is you get paint in series. Series 1 to 5. Series 1 is your cheaper, more basic paints. They would be the lowest priced, where your Series 5 are your rarer colors, and they're way more expensive. Now this list has 7 of them are Series 1. The red, the yellow, and the sap green. The one is a Series 2, the other 2 Series 3. They are a little bit more expensive, but you really need them. Don't waste your money on other colors, because there are so many beautiful colors in tubes, and you think, oh, I can't live without this color. You can, because you're going to waste your money. Because you never use a color just out of a tube. You're going to mix your colors. Every color should be mixed. That gives you an interesting color. It gives you a color with depth. A color used straight from a tube is a very harsh thing to look at. So let me do this, and again I'm just going to do it on my canvas because, you know, it's nice. Bit of white. Everything. Which one do we still need? Green. Of course, the buff. Here is my green. But you see, this is now green from a tube. This green here was blue and yellow that mixed, so we get a green. So, but still, this green is really helpful. Okay, now look at the colors. What happens to them? Don't pay any attention to what's going on your canvas now. It doesn't matter. You're not going to repeat anything. You're not going to try to match it. Nothing. You ignore it and just do what you did the previous time, but you use a bit of yellow. You see there, green is mixed with white, and there it's mixed with a titanium. There's a difference in color. This one is sort of more opaque, and this one it moves to the yellowy side of white. Let's see the red. Gives you a pinky color, red with a buff. Oh yeah, of course it gives you a pinky color, but it's a different kind of pinky color. You will find that out when you paint, or I will show to you when we paint. As I said, there's no wrong way to do this layer, but actually there is. Don't make too long strokes or blocks, or just go crazy. And the thing is, don't have too big spaces. That's one color, because we need lots of colors. We need it chopped up a lot, because that will give you in the next layer way more to work with. It's a beautiful yellow there. It's disappearing. It's a pity, but we can always use yellow again later if we wanted to. Now, I'm quite a forceful painter. You don't have to be as forceful as I am. It's just a habit. I can't tell you why I do this. But see what's going on here? It's totally a different ball game. It's lighter colors. It's as if there's more depth. It is as if it's just a better quality all around. So what we're going to do now is, while it's drying, or even after, what you can also do actually is, if you're really scared of this, you can leave it. Just leave it for a day or an hour or a week. Because the more you see this mishmash here, the more your brain gets to know it. And yeah, it's just a lot of colors, but your brain sees things that you don't see. But you want to paint now? Go ahead. So we look at this canvas. Let me just turn it back to the canvas now. And closer, maybe. There. Look at the colors, but not the colors, the shapes the colors formed. So you are going to look for shapes. The same way you look for pictures in the sky, in the clouds, you do the picture and in the clouds thing here. And you try and see whatever it is you can see. What do we see here? I'm just as unprepared as you are. So I'll keep looking and think, oh, I see nothing. But even if you see something, you just go round and round. Turn it this side. What do you see? You can see lots of different things. Again, this side. It looks totally different when it's upside down or the other way around. Let's say I see a vase. I don't want to draw on it now because it's still wet. You need it to be dry. And for now, it's wet. But this here could be a vase because of the shape. What is this? These could be, there's a bit of a line there, so it could be a pomegranate or maybe another pomegranate. And the vase, there's a line taking you up. These could be stems of flowers, and that shape can be the start of flowers. There could be another stem. It could be maybe lilies or whatever. We can figure it out. Let's turn it around. This side. What do we see? And don't be scared, because one tends to think, what do I see? What do I see? I see nothing. I see nothing. That's fine. Just let it stay outside. Not outside, to the one side. So for me too, I can't tell you immediately what I see here, but I'm going to sit back and I'm going to look at it, and at my leisure find 4 different pictures. The reason it's 4 is 4 sides. But when it's dry, you can draw faintly what you see, your little picture that you make out. Say, let's go back to that vase because it's the easiest, because I saw it. You're going to draw with charcoal your vase, and just loosely, very loosely, not little picture perfect, very loosely, your vase with your flowers. And you're going to look at it. Take your paper towel and wipe it off. Totally get rid of it. That's why it needs to be dry. Other side, do the same. So all 4 pictures you're going to wipe after you've drawn them. But it's just indications of drawings. It's not drawings. Just remember that, because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time and energy. So, and then you're going to see which of these pictures sort of works for you. There will be something. Oh, and the most important part. You saw things here, but also if you don't see a picture and you feel dumb and you don't know where to go, just look around you. Look around you at things you see, a plant, a table, anything. Whatever you see around you, you will find here. I don't know how it works, but you will find it there. So this is all for now. I can't go on with you now because this is still wet. But hopefully you can go and do this. Do this at home. This is your assignment. It's a lot to take in for the first, but actually it's so easy. And it is so non-stressful. Get your paints. You can wear an apron or an old piece of clothing if you want to protect your clothes. I don't like it. My clothes are always full of paint, but what the heck, I'm an artist, so it doesn't bother me. I'm just saying. So up to next time, if you have this ready, then we can go on. Thank you so much so far.